first thing I want to do is I want to say thank you to everyone who has been supportive in this challenging time. Second thing I want to say is that I apologize to all of the women that has been affected by this situation. This situation is a really tough situation, a really serious situation, and allegations that has been bestowed upon me is really sad. Now, I know that there's women out there that has truly been through these situations, and hearing someone speak in this manner, I'm sure it probably brought you back to a serious place. It brought you back to a bad time, and it brought you back to a tough time. Okay? I'm not here to bash Kirby. I'm not here to destroy her, because I'm going to be honest with you, I still love that girl. Up to this day. Still love her, and I still love her son. And I would never do anything that would tarnish who she is as an individual. Last year, when we broke up, when we took a break, last year, I went on live, for the people who remember this, and I spoke my truth. I spoke about, situations that happened. I spoke about, her leaving my kids and with a neighbor, and it really hurt me. And one of the things that she was upset about, right, was that I took my personal life to social media. I apologized to her. I understood where she was coming from, and I really did not need to go on social media to express what was going on in our personal life. And if anybody remembers, now I don't have to turn up the comments, because people are going to think and say whatever they want to say regardless. So I'm not even, that's not why I'm not even here for that. If anybody remembers, I then came on Instagram because her mother and herself was so persistent on me apologizing, making a public apology to her for, just speaking what I was speaking about. And I did that. I came on here. I apologized to Kirby for putting our business, our personal business, on social media, and we got past it, and we moved on, and we were together again. Okay? And I'm gonna address every single thing that you think you know. But before I do that, I'm just gonna say that I'm disappointed. I'm hurt, and I'm healing. I sat here for 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days I sat here and watched people ridicule me, destroy me, bring me down from one person's allegation. I watched people that I gave 9 years of my life to disrespect me, go on my son's page, disrespect him, a 10-year-old boy. my daughter, everybody, my mother, everybody took a beating because of what one person said. I've been accused of so much, and I worked hard for where I'm at right now. I worked hard. When people told me I couldn't make it, I pushed on. When people told me that I would be nothing, I created something that I could survive on, something that I could take care of my children on, right? And one person, one person. Now, I'm going to start with just the obvious. Just the obvious. When I met Kirby on South Beach as a fan. I met her as a fan. And like I said, I'm not here to bash. I'm here to speak my truth. And if you're willing to sit here and listen through my truth, then that's what it is. The devil is busy. I understand that. But I'm a child of God, and I will always be. I've been putting up prayers and psalms and trying to motivate people for the longest time. And it's funny how all of that could be thrown to the ground, spit on, and disrespected in the matter of 3 days. So as I was saying, and the reason why I'm giving you this history is because I want you to understand what's going on right now. I want you to feel my pain. I want you to understand where we're at with this. And after I speak about this, I'm telling you right now, I am not going to do the back and forth business. I'm not going to do the answering and re-answering. I'm making this statement today, and this is all I'm going to talk about. And I just want to get back to my life. I want to heal, and I want to just support my children in this difficult time. So I'm not going to talk about it again. Okay? When I met Kirby, she was with her baby father. I was with my baby mother, but I was going through my problems, and I really was in a bad space with my baby mother. We used to go from Florida to New York, and she told me she had a baby father, and she really didn't want to be with him, but her mother is forcing her to be with the baby father. So we just was doing our fling thing. I went to Miami 2 times a year. I went for Memorial Weekend to do Best of the Best, and I went to Miami Carnival. And every time I went out there, I saw her. The day I met Kirby, I told her that I was going to marry her. The day I met her. The day that I met Kirby, I told her that I was going to marry her. Not knowing what the future would bring, but I just felt that way. Okay? When I met Kirby, Kirby told me that she was in an abusive relationship. Her baby father used to beat her. When she didn't want sex, he would beat her up. She told me that he blacked her eye. She told me that he broke her jaw. And her mother never believed her. And her mother forced her to be with this man. This is what she's told me out of her own mouth. Okay? Then, the more we started dealing, all right, let's fast forward. We was dealing, and I felt, within my self, I felt like she wasn't really with the baby father. So when I got out of my situation, I kind of started taking her seriously. She moved to Houston. And she said she was in the academy and she was going to be a police officer. And I was basically supporting her through it. We spoke often. She asked me for money to help her, buy her firearm and stuff like that. And that's what it was. I posted Kirby on Valentine's Day 2 years ago. Right? When I posted her, somebody commented on the page and said, "Are you gonna still fuck blank when you're in New York?" To my knowledge, I only know about Kirby's baby father. After this comment was on my page, she had no choice but to tell me about a dude that she was sleeping with in New York. When these comments they're crazy. Is jokey, but it's okay because my truth has to come out. Mm-hmm. I prayed on it this morning, and God told me to speak my truth, and He's gonna guide me and be with me through this. So no matter what people want to say, you are just a man, just like me. Anyway, she had no choice but to tell me about this man that she was sleeping with. She told me that she was sleeping with this man since she was 15, and this man was older than her. He was about 24 or whatever. Come to find out that this man she was sleeping with was also her niece's uncle. Now, I saw a problem with that in myself already. But I also felt genuine love for Kirby. I also felt that I can help her through certain things. I also felt that I know she's younger than me and I know she needs to grow, but I'm going to be there for her and with her to help her grow. I went to Houston. All right. Like I said, she was in Houston. She told me I was going to do a show in Houston, and she told me that she wanted to see me. She said that while I'm here, she wants to let me know. I'm gonna turn off these comments. I'm gonna turn it off so I could get through this and just yeah, because it's distracting me and I'm reading it. How do I turn off these comments? Comment. Okay. 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 Now I could get through this and do what I gotta do. So she told me that she was living in Houston, and I was under the impression that she was living by herself. She told me she said she wanted to go to Houston to be a police officer because she wanted to get away from her mother. This is what she told me. Her mother has been trying to run her life for years. Her mother has been forcing her to be with people that she didn't want to be with, and she just wanted to get away from her mother. This is what she said to me. When I was going to Houston to do this show, she told me she got to tell me something. I asked her what she wanted to tell me. She said that she moved her baby father in. I was disappointed because I thought that she was over that. I thought that she was beyond that, being that she said she was with a man that was abusing her and beating her up for sex. And I guarantee you, through my experiences, I guarantee you if we speak to her baby father, it'll be a different story. But I don't even want to go there. But anyway, I told her in 2018, I said, you know what? I don't want to be the person who is going to mash up your happy home. I'm not a house wrecker. I'm in a good space right now. I don't want to be a part of that. If you are with your baby father and this is who you're living with, I'm good. I didn't speak to Kirby the whole year of 2018. In 2019, me and some of my partners decided to do a show in Houston. I haven't contacted Kirby for a whole year. When I got to Houston, my road manager looked at me. He said, "What happened to that pretty girl that you used to talk to? Don't she live in Houston? Ain't she a police officer here?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "She also lived with her baby father, and I don't want to deal with that, so I'm just going to leave her alone." Kirby texted me and said, "So you wasn't going to reach out to me and you here?" I said, "Honestly, no. You have your life, you have your family, you have your kids, your kid, live your life." She said, "I told you that I only moved him here because I needed help with my son. Me and him is not together like that. I need help with my son. I work late hours, and I wanted him to come and help me with my child." She asked me where. She told me that she was going to come to the show anyway, and she was going to come in there with her police friends, and they was going to stop the show, and I had no choice but to talk to her. I guess that was jokingly, because we joke a lot. Please, I don't want nobody to call me right now. Please, no one call me.
Stop the show.
Right. So we linked up. She came to the hotel. We had sex, and I opened up to her, and I gave her the truth. I said, "Listen, at the time that I met you, I didn't really want to take you seriously because I didn't want to drag you into the things that I was going through with my personal experience, my personal life with my kid's mother and everything like that." She said, "I'm sorry that you felt that way, but I would have been there with you and I would have rode it out with you." And that, to me, was some of the realest shit I've ever heard. For somebody to say that they're going to be there with you through everything. You understand? So I decided that if we wanted to take it seriously, that's what we was going to do. Me and Kirby started communicating again, and we became, girlfriend and boyfriend. We was talking while her baby father was still living there. And I accepted that. She came to Atlanta because I told her sister that I was going to engage to her. Her sister was so happy. Her sister was supportive. And I planned this engagement for when she came to Atlanta. Her mother got involved and was very upset. "You don't know this man. Where do you know this man from? You don't even know his real name. Why are you just gonna marry this man? Or why are you gonna take his ring or whatever?" No, she didn't say about ring because Kirby didn't know that I was gonna engage to her. So her mother started feeling like she needed to interject in this situation. So her mother decided to make a fake email and sent it to Kirby and told Kirby that this is what somebody sent to her. Within that email, it was, "My name is not Nigel Joseph. My name is not Nigel Joseph, and I've been exposing Kirby's nudes." Now, for a woman to doctor up an email to stop us from communicating and stopping us from loving each other is sick. For a grown woman to do that. Okay? Kirby did her due diligence and realized that it was a lie. And she realized that her mother was lying. That's her mother. Of course, she's going to forgive her mother. She was very distraught about it, but that's her mother. I expect her to forgive her mother. And her mother told her that she was only trying to protect her. Kirby called me one day when she lived with her mother. and was crying, was in tears. She had a red vial. It was a clear bottle about this big, maybe a little smaller, clear bottle. It had red liquid in it and a paper wrapped up in it. She called me on FaceTime. She was crying. And I said, what's the matter? And she told me, I found my grandmother sent me in her purse to get something, and I found this in it. She poured the liquid out. I'm not sure, but I think she even tasted it. And she was like, it's sweet. She broke the bottle. She unraveled the paper. And on this paper, it says Kirby. And I don't, like I said, I don't have a reason to lie. I'm speaking my truth today because I'm just speaking my truth. So anyway, she unraveled this paper and the paper said, Kirby, submit to QAine. Kirby, love QAine. Kirby, never leave QAine. She said, my mother and my grandmother is wicked, yo. They really voodooing me to stay with this man. So this is something that they've been into, obviously. Moving forward, I proposed to Kirby because I loved her. Nothing more. I was who I am before Kirby, and I'm definitely going to be who I am after Kirby. Kirby told me that she was going to leave her job, and she wanted to move so that we could be together in Atlanta. We both agreed on that. I went to Houston, and I paid for the U-Haul. Me and my kids helped her pack all of her stuff, and we drove 14 hours from Houston to Atlanta so that we can be together. The plan was that Kirby was supposed to take FMLA for 2 months. During that 2 months, she was supposed to do her transfer paper. She was supposed to do a lateral program, which means she didn't have to go through the academy again. They would just recognize that she was a police officer in Houston and she would become a police officer here in Georgia. Well, that FMLA lasted 2 years because I took care of Kirby, spent my money, bought horses, and did everything that I could do to make Kirby happy. And I'm going to tell you the truth, nothing that I've ever done was going to make Kirby happy because she wasn't happy within herself. She jumped directly out of one relationship into another. There was no healing process. There was no time to reevaluate. There was no time for anything. And I think that was probably one of our biggest mistakes. Now, keep in mind that I've already been told that she was in an abusive relationship with her baby father. She told me that his sister was doing voodoo on her. Her mother is doing voodoo on her, or her grandmother. And she's with a dude that's been having sex with her since she was 15. Now, that dude, and I'm not naming any names, but that dude, when we first got serious, Kirby told me, and I have all of the texts and everything right here, so I'm gonna read it for you. So like I said, if you don't have the time to hear this truth, then you can go now. But I'm gonna put everything out because I want this to be done with. And like I said, I'm not responding after any type of backlash, any type of rebuttals, responses. I'm gonna move on after this. So the guy that she was dealing with, which is her niece's uncle, when we decided to get serious, she told me, I don't know if this is the story, I don't know if this is correct, but she told me that this man was threatening her to put out her sex tape. The sex tapes that he has with her, he was threatening her. He said he was going to make paper. He's going to print papers with her nudes and put it all over the hood because she's originally from Schenectady and Empire. So he was going to put it all over there and all of that. I reached out to some friends that have that's mutual friends with him, and I explained to them. I said, listen, if he disrespects her like that and puts out her nudes, then he's disrespecting me. And that can't happen. When they spoke to him, he said he was in his feelings, and he did say that, but he's not going to do that. It's all good. Shorty could go ahead and whatever. So the abuse, the sexual abuse, the putting out of sex tapes has been a cycle for Kirby. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's a cycle. Moving on. It's a shame to experience these things. And like I said, I'm so apologetic to the women that went through domestic violence, been beat up and all of these things, and abused and all of these things. It's really unfortunate. And as a kid growing up, I'm going to put my truth all the way out here. As a kid growing up, I watched my mother. We went to my father's house, and my mother went to tell him that I needed a bicycle. I was 6 years old. She went to his house. She told my father, your son needs a bicycle. Your son needs a bicycle. And my father looked out the window and he told her that if he comes downstairs, she's going to regret it. My mother and my father wasn't together at the time. He had his family. My mother had her people. And that's what it was. But I remember it like it was yesterday because this is something that I've lived through all my life. I was 6 years old. And these things I've confided into Kirby with. My father came downstairs with a machete in his hand. The story that I was told was that he tried to hit her with the side of the machete. But he chopped my mother's hand. And my mother's hand was hanging from a thread. And I sat there as a 6-year-old child and watched that whole thing. I've grown so much resentment for my father for that. I've held so much things back. And I use my comedy and my drive to become who I am today. So for somebody to try to destroy me after I've been nothing but good to this person, some people is just so wicked. And I'm not even talking about Kirby. But people is wicked. For y'all to come on here and disrespect me and disrespect my family. And y'all don't know. Y'all have no idea what I've been through. Even a piece. Not even a piece of what I've been through. I was molested as a child. I confided in somebody about it, which is Kirby. I told her, I said, listen, I've been through a lot, and I just want to know that you're here for me. I told her I was molested as a child from a male family member. And she took that and she used it as ammunition. We had an argument. She told me that I'm a faggot. She told me that my mother allowed somebody to molest me for 4 years. She threw all of that in my face. Yes, I'm not perfect. But I tried my best not to entertain the insults. I tried my best not to entertain the war and the argument and the confrontation. But I'm telling you this right now. Any man that has been in Kirby's life will be able to tell you that she strives off of confrontation. If she's willing to be honest with you people, because y'all don't know who Kirby is. Y'all know her as Majah Hype's fiance. Okay? I gave you 9 years of my personality. I gave you 9 years of who I've been and what I've been going through. I gave you 9 years of my life. You know Kirby because I introduced the world to her. I made it known that this was my wife. I've never put up a woman on my Instagram. I made it known. So for you people to come on here and second guess my love for Kirby, for you people to come on here and judge what I've done in my relationship, the nerve of you people. And y'all need to check yourself, because everybody go through situations. And that's why I come on here and I motivate people. That's why I play music. That's why I encourage people, because I know a lot of us may not want to talk about the things that we've been through, and it's easier to laugh at somebody else's issues when we're trying to hide our own. Molestation is not a joke. And I wanted to have this conversation with my kids and my family before I did it, but we're here now. For you to confide into somebody and that's what they do. And I have a lot of screenshots and a lot of texts that I'm gonna read out and I'm gonna show you. Okay? I encouraged Kirby. I motivated her. I wanted her to be the best she can be. I started working on a website for her boutique, because she wanted to sell swimsuits. I brought her to the forefront. I put her on my Instagram. I let the world know that this is my wife. I encouraged her. I told her that she has a beautiful spirit. That's why she started doing lives last week. When she did her makeup tutorial and there was 20 people on it, I said, I need to encourage my girl. I need to support her. I went and got the Mitzi outfit. And I joined her live and I added my live, and I knew that would bring her followers. She went from 3,000 followers to 14,000 in 4 days. Okay? She called her Wednesday Women's Wednesday. Now, I always knew that Kirby had some kind of loving or liking for women. And like I said, I'm putting it all out here because I don't want to come back on here and respond to anybody or anything. Every argument, every serious argument that me and Kirby had was because of another woman. And not on my behalf either. From the day I met Kirby up until 2 weeks ago, I never interacted with another woman in that whole situation. I interacted as far as conversation, yes. Flirting, yes. But sexually, because I knew what I wanted. Now, about this sex tape. Deep in Kirby's heart, and I'm looking you dead in your eyes, Kirby, because I know you got your little scum team watching. But deep in my heart, I know that you released that. You released it. This is Kirby's old phone right here. This is her old phone. I did break her phone. Yes, I did. I broke it. You know why I broke it? Because let me get to this part of it. Last week, I went to Fort Lauderdale to do a show. A friend of mine's said that she wanted to come to the show. I bought her a ticket. She came. She came to the show. But I knew that this girl was just a friend. But I knew that Kirby was so on my body about having other women around and so insecure about me talking to other women that I knew that if I was to tell her that a female friend of mine wanted to come to Fort Lauderdale to the show, that she wouldn't like that. We went to the show. I came back home. Me and this girl did nothing. When I came back, Kirby told me that we need to talk. Now, I would put my head on the block for Kirby. She lived with me, so I didn't ever think that she would still be communicating with anybody or she would be doing anything with anybody. So I put my head on the block. People was always asking me, like, you think she's faithful? Like, what? Nobody couldn't tell me that she wasn't faithful. So I never had a reason to go through Kirby's phone. I never had a reason to check and I know what that brings also, so I never wanted to check her phone. When I got back from Fort Lauderdale, she hacked into my computer, found my password, and she was looking through my texts. Now, if you have an Apple phone and an Apple computer, you know that your accounts is on the same. So she went and started looking through my texts. She saw me talking to women. She saw me flirting with women. She swore up and down that I was having sex with these people, but I actually wasn't. And like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and play like I'm a saint, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. After the conversation that me and Kirby had, where she threw my molestation in my face, when she threw me having a smaller penis than the man that she was with before, and all of these things that she was saying. You see, an argument is an argument, and we could throw insults at each other, but when you take the things that was confided in you and throw it in their face, it's a different level. But from the time she did that, that's when I started really saying, you know what? I'm vulnerable. My self-esteem is low. She made me feel away. So I started talking to other people, but not just speaking, just conversing and flirting and whatever. So she confronted me with it, and she was disappointed in me, and I was disappointed in myself. I was ashamed. I felt like I was weak. I let my family down, and I'm big on setting examples for my kids, and I didn't want that to be one of the examples that I would set for them. So I begged her for her forgiveness. I told her that, you know, I'm ashamed of myself, and I begged her for my forgiveness, and I said, you know, I'm sorry. You know, I was flirting with these people, and I did have a sexual experience with one of the people. I did. And it made me feel so bad, but it wasn't actual sex. It was oral sex. And I felt so bad about that. And I tried this happened, I think it was last week I was in Fort Lauderdale. And this happened, and I got back home, I think, on Sunday. And Monday, Tuesday, I was just trying my best to prove to her that, you know, I'm taking accountability, and I'm so sorry, and, you know, I didn't want that for us, and, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And she was really hard on me about it, which I expected. I expected her to be hard, and I was ready for whatever the consequences were. At the same time, I thought to myself, why is this girl always have the need to check my stuff? Why does she always have the need to go through my things? If I go out to a party and I'm with, say, DJ Young Chow, or I'm with Steely Bashman, she has to go on their story to see what I'm doing because she know I'm not going to post anything crazy. And I just was wondering why. Why does she have to go so hard for this whole, like, I'm cheating thing? And I'm not. And I said, you know what? People who do this, they do it because they have something to hide. And this is when I took her phone. Kirby, she said, you want to go through my phone? All right, let me open it. Now, you know these phones is Face ID and code and all of that. I said, I don't need to do it in front of you. So when I had her phone, she was chasing me for the phone in her vehicle, chasing me. I was driving my Bentley. She was driving her CLA, and she's chasing me through the streets for this phone. We went to somebody who I thought was my friend. We went to her house, and her house is it's on a street. Kirby blocked off the street so that I couldn't go anywhere. But if a car came, and she had no choice but to move her car, and I had to move my car too. So I pulled in a driveway. Kirby blocked me in the people's driveway. As I was reversing, she pulled her car up, and my car touched her car. Of course, she's going to exaggerate it and say that I rammed her car. But I want y'all to challenge her. Ask her to see the damage on her car since I rammed her car. Because I'm not going to take my Bentley that I work hard for and ram anybody's car. So she didn't want to open her phone for some strange reason. I spoke to one of my friends. I said, yo, bro, I'm trying to, I think that Kirby has something to hide. I said, she don't want to open the phone for some obvious reason or whatever the case may be. And he said, well, if she don't want to open her phone, you already got your answer. But I had to see. So later that evening, she told me she was going to open her phone, and she kind of tried to gear me up for what I was going to see, because she said, you're not going to see anything like what's in your phone. Turned out that she was right, because I seen way more than what was ever in my phone. I opened her phone. Well, she opened it. I was in the theater room downstairs. I was going through her phone, and I went to her pictures first. That was the first place I went. She was upstairs. She was in the guest room. And I was going through the phone, and I'm looking at stuff. And I started to see, it take me a while because I got a lot of screenshots, but I seen conversations with her and people and all of this stuff. Let me just get to it. Now, let me just get to it real quick. These are the things that I started to see in her phone. And no disrespect to any man that was involved in the situation and was dealing with her or whatever the